I had a look at it last week, first time, when it was still more of a building site than it just about isn't now. It's a very impressive piece of kit. I mean, a lot of people, one or two people, don't like the loss of history from the old, small, nice little cricket ground that it was. But I think inside it is very, very user-friendly. It's a fantastic stadium now. Obviously, by the time the whole thing is finished, there'll be more capacity, and they'll get crowds here for cricket, crowds here for Australian rules footy as well. But I think people who use it will love it, and that includes us, of course.
England-wise, we're still, well, we'll find out officially at the toss or just before the England team, but obviously the number 3 spot to fill, Bell or Root, the number 6 position, and Bresnan looks like a shoo-in now that he's fit. What are your thoughts on the England line?
Yeah, the Bresnan thing first. I think everything we've heard about this pitch suggests that Bresnan is a better pick than someone tall and lanky who's going to try and get bounce out of a pitch, and the bounce isn't there. Because Tremblay wasn't quick at Brisbane. We could see that very obviously. And if there is less bounce here, then it's not going to help him at all. So someone like Bresnan would suit the conditions better. So yes, now that he's proved himself fit, I think that's fine. I mean, it's going to be obviously a tough ask to go from a game in Brisbane against lesser opposition to a test match against Australia on a flat pitch. But he's a strong lad, he's a good lad, so I mean, he'll be in. I suppose Root is most likely to play at 3, where I think for him, of course, the problem is that he's not really settling into a role anywhere, having been opening, having been 6. His first part of the career was in the middle order, where he was very, very good indeed. To go up to 3 is not beyond him by any stretch of the imagination, because I think he's a very good player. The only thing is, what you do get at 3 is this, that when it becomes designated a problem position, the next cab off the rank goes, oh, is it my turn? And you're slightly worried about, as it were, the sort of connotations of the position, and you almost forget just to play the game. But I think, knowing Joe, he's a very level-headed cricketer. He's a very good young lad who I think will just look at the chance to bat as the prime thing. And in a sense, that's what you have to do. Just isolate all the other extraneous thoughts. Just concentrate on the ball that's coming towards you and play it. And if it is a good pitch, as people are suggesting it probably will be, then it's a great chance for not just Joe, but for everyone else in that top order to get some runs.
And what about that number 6 position? I mean, there's 3 guys there. We're trying to look at the clues. Is it Gary Ballance? You've got some runs in Alice Springs, or at least spent some time in the middle. What are your thoughts there?
Probably him. I mean, Stokes is a bit of a blindside pick on the grounds that you might need an extra bowler on a flat pitch. I think that is probably going to count as confused thinking. You might as well go for the man, because let's face it, the one thing that England were really short of in Brisbane was runs. And you can do nothing in a game of cricket without runs on the board. Looking at the way the game went here 3 years ago, they got runs on the board. Obviously, Kevin Peterson played a brilliant knock for his double 100. And if he does anything like that again, that puts him in a great position. But I think you need those runs on the board, and then once you've got them, then bowling is always a very different thing. It's a very different discipline when you've got 500 runs on the board. If you've only got 130, then there's nothing much the bowlers can do. So I think once they've come to terms with that, pick the batsman, which is probably Balance, pick the bowlers as before, including Bresnan this time. They know they've got work to do, but you can fill in with a bit of Root. You can fill in a few overs here and there, and just hope things go your way.
Player behaviour, is that going to be a big issue, do you think, during this Test match?
Well, I think one or two are quite looking forward to a bit of a ruckus out there. They're looking forward to a rugby match. I'm rather hoping that's not going to be the case, because yes, you can make a mountain out of a molehill with player behaviour, and things can spill over, which were probably all right a minute ago, and it only takes one little flashpoint for the media to get overexcited. It is, I mean, I've been to Melbourne yesterday to a lunch with some very interesting people who look back at the grand old days where, and I can look back at the days against the West Indies in the 80s, but they didn't say much, but they could bowl. They didn't need to say much because they could bowl. You don't need to say an awful lot on a cricket field to make your point. And I think if we can get back to that sort of way of playing, which is as tough as it's ever been. The expression used yesterday I heard was, I never played, this guy Colin McDonald said, I never played in a friendly Test match. And that's absolutely true. There's no such thing as a friendly Test match. But there are standards which we need to adhere to, which I hope actually both captains and coaches and all those players involved will adhere to during this game. Make it a spectacle because of the cricket.